The purpose of this video is to get you all the way through a Jenkins pipeline setup in the least amount of time possible and completely understand it. So hold on to your hat, we're going to go fast. Just back up the video if we go over something too quickly. Keyword here is this is going to be an opinionated presentation. For example, the main point here is that infrastructure is code. Everything your CI run depends on should be with your source code in your Jenkins file. This makes your Jenkins servers almost disposable. You may also want to learn a little bit about 12 factor if you haven't already, because anything that is more machine specific should be stored in environment variables, not source code. Heads up, we're assuming you are a typical enterprise developer and you're up to speed in all this basic stuff. Time to first hello world projects should be almost instantaneous. Anything that takes more time than that is discourteous to you as a developer. These 4 Jenkins projects should be instantly runnable and easily understood. The versions that we're going to use for this presentation. If you show up after 2016, this video may be obsolete because this is quickly moving technology, so heads up on that. Another heads up, before we start, you're going to need to know your Java install directory and your Maven install directory. Last heads up, there's a little bit of a confusing thing we're going to do. We're going to not install all the default plugins when we set up Jenkins. This is because at least one of these, and we don't know which one, causes the new item screen not to display. So we're going to not take some of the plugins. Okay, that's it for housekeeping details. On to the live portion. I've got a fresh Tomcat here that hasn't been initiated yet with any new installs. I've got a Jenkins jar here ready to install it. It's inside the web apps directory where they are supposed to be. Go to our command line. Run startup.sh from the bin directory of the Tomcat. And it's started up. We look back inside and you can see the Jenkins folder has been created. So now the app is ready to roll, or ready to start anyway. And if we go to the Tomcat, it says we need to unlock it. So we go to this directory here. And we cat that and get this value there. Paste it in. I would normally do this, but there's a bug in Jenkins which I hope to not show you, and so I'm going to select my plugins intentionally, and I'm going to unchoose any of them that I don't think I would need, and I'll add them back in later. And I won't explain why I'm doing that because I've done this a bunch of times to rehearse for this and learned that the bug will kick my butt. And hit install. And I'm ready to go.
Okay, it's going to ask us to add the JDK and Maven. So we add the JDK. I've already got the JDK, so I undo that one. Paste in the location. Maven has to be named M3. I've already got a copy of that as well.
Let's create our first job. New item. Now to do this, we're going to consume a GitHub project. I just happen to have one ready here. This is the pipeline hello project. and it's going to be a pipeline project here, and I'm going to hit OK. That should be all I need except for establishing the pipeline itself, and we're going to take it from the project itself. You can see this project has inside of it a Jenkins file. So let's clone this guy. We're going to use git to go get it. Paste it in, save. Now, it should be able to build this straight from there. Let's see if it works. And it ran and it worked. You can see, if we look at it, Stage 1 did a Hello World 1, Stage 2 did a Hello World 2. Pretty straightforward stuff. So we know that the system works. Let's try doing another one. New. And for the next one, let's do a Maven project. Copy the name. Put it in here, it's going to be a pipeline project. Hit OK. Again, the only thing we care about is, at this time, is that it's from script, it's a git, and copy that, paste it in here, save. Let's try building this one. Now that we have our project set up in Jenkins, let's look at each project and see what exactly it does. The first one is just a hello world. It's going to print hello world to the screen. So let's do that. Run the build. Runs pretty quickly. Look at the logs. Hello world 1. Logs, hello world 2. So you can see what it does. Let's look at the second one. The Java Maven is a fairly typical Jenkins project. So let's look and see what that does. First of all, it checks out the code per this URL. It defines Maven and then runs the Maven build. Let's check the project out and run it. That was almost too fast. Let's see what happens. So it went and did a git on the project. There's the Maven build. There are the tests, and it succeeded. Project number 3. In this project, we checked it out, and what we're simulating here is something like such as, for example, a Docker build where we're going to do our builds actually with a shell script. So we run one shell script and then we run another shell script to deploy it. Checks it out. Check out it worked. It ran the build.sh, which all the build.sh is prints that out there. And it ran the deploy, and all the deploy does is it prints this out that you just deployed it, and then it does an ls. So the final project is the use of environment variables. And what we would do with that is configure part of our build in our environment variables such that when we moved it from machine to machine, we wouldn't have to change the code that was in the source code repository. Instead, we would only change the environment variables. And all we're going to do here is print out Java Home with this here. And we're also going to print out Java Home failing, or we're going to show Java Home failing to print because we use the single quote right here. So let's run that. Got a number of messages. Let's show the one that where it fails to print. This is the one that fails to print Java Home. Or here's the one that actually prints Java Home.